Hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional Freedom. Thank you all for joining and stay with us till the end. My lovely audience, today I am your host for the morning. My name is Yari Sakta Chaudhuri and I am from Bangladesh. Dear audience, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. I feel honored and privileged to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professional Webinars. Thank you all for joining us today in this marvelous morning, and it's my humble request and pleasure to all of you stay with us till the end. Institution of Global Professionals serves student and community resource, providing holistic social work and education for create a confident generation. IGP is leading on online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. Institution of Global Professional is an educational institution provides socially with globally recognized. We organized our webinar training offline and online courses by our best and trained speaker and coaches from all the world. Our mission is to empower people. We have already completed 1041 webinars successfully. And let me remind you, don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends. Today, our webinar number is 1042 webinar, and our topic is identify learners' needs with art of teaching. And our today we have our speaker, and our speaker name is Hajara Sadam. She is from Sri Lanka. She is a clinical psychologist and counselor, psychologist and senior counselor, Islamic Care Line Counseling Center. She and clinical psychologist, Jordan's Hospital, psychologist and senior counselor, Musa Foundation, lecturer from Colombo University and Metropolitan University and Amazon College. Let's invite our speaker. Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Ma'am, how are you?
Good, good. I'm doing great.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, give your some description about yourself. Then you can start your presentation.
Okay. Thank you so much. A very good morning to all of you. My name is Hajra Saddam. I practice as a clinical psychologist and senior counselor. So I have got nearly around 13 years of experience in this field. I have been practicing as a clinical psychologist for nearly about 10 years, and also I have been practicing as a counselor, parental counselor, youth and teenage counselor, and child counselor for about 10 years as well. And also, I do a lot of lecturing, and I have done more than 1,000 trainings in my career, and I have dealt with more than 5,000 clinical and counseling cases as well. So I am one of the leading psychologists in the country, and also I am into lecturing in many famous universities in Sri Lanka, like Colombo University, Government University, and then Metropolitan ICBT, non-government international universities as well. Also, I'm an international trainer. I've been working with a lot of international organizations as a trainer. So I'm so happy to be a part of this Institute of Global Professional, and I think it's a privilege, it's an honor and privilege to be a part of this organization. So that's like a very brief introduction about me. I have done a lot of internships abroad. I've been working abroad as well. So for the past 10 years, I'm working in Sri Lanka as a leading professional. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. You can start your presentation, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So, guys, I think it's a wonderful morning. Once again, a very, very, very good morning to all of you. And it's a pleasure to meet you all at this platform. I think it's my honor to meet all of you. Today, I've come up with a very, very interesting topic. I'm sure that this is going to be very interesting to you because we're going to have a lot of fun activities and we're going to make it so, you know, effective, and we are going to make it very, very practical as well. So the purpose of this particular lecture today is to identify learner needs. because when I was the learner, I used to always wonder whether, whether my teachers are doing a really good job to me, because I think that they never understood me, and they never wanted to know even what are my needs are. So I thought after becoming a teacher that I should do a lot of research about learners, because I never got my needs met through learning. So that made me to do a lot of research about learners and what learners need in a learning environment. So that's what made me to come up with such an effective presentation, because it is my experience that I really felt like, I need to become a very, very effective teacher and provide the best to my learners. So in this lecture, we're going to actually look at the different learner types, and the learner needs, and what is learning, and how does learning process and teacher quality affects learning, and also how does the learner needs can be identified through different strategies, and what are the different strategies that we could use with learners to make learning very effective. So this is the outcome of the presentation. So let's begin. So before I begin, I just thought of asking you a very, very simple question. So my question to you is, do you think that the teacher quality affects learner performance? What do you think? Do you think the teacher quality affects learner performance? Yes or no? What is your thought? Okay. So in that case, whether the teacher qualities affects learner performance, yes or no, the answer is yes. Now we are going to see how does this teacher quality affect students achievement and performance. According to a research, it says that teacher effectiveness greatly impacts students achievement. Students' achievement were percentile after 2 years. So it was a longitudinal study where they constantly follow the learner to see whether the learner performance are increasing because of the teacher quality. So I have given the diagram on my presentation. You can see it says that 37%. 37% it increases when there's the most effective school and least effective teacher. Now let's say the learner is attending one of the most leading schools, and but the teacher effectiveness is less, then we can expect 37% of performance. Then the least effective school, the school is less effective, but the teacher seems also to be less effective, then you can expect only 3% of learner performance. Look at the other side. It's very shocking to see that least effective school but most effective teacher. Now, let's say the school is not really good, but the teacher seems to be like very good, then they go up to like 63%. Okay, and it's very, very astonishing to see that when you have a most effective teacher and the least effective school, the most effective school, then the learner performance becomes around 96%. So what does it mean? It clearly means that teacher quality affects learner performance more than the school, more than the learner, more than the learning process. The teacher quality affects learner performance, and you can increase learner performance up to 96% when you have a most effective teacher. So I think as a teacher, it all lies in my hand. Now, when I am effective, when I am a professional, and when I am educated, and when I'm experienced, and when I have the right understanding and knowledge about the learner, I can make a marvelous job in my profession. That's what it says. Okay, because generally we see people generally think that it's about the teacher, or it's about the no it's about the school, or maybe it's about the parents, or maybe it's about the environment, or maybe it's about the learner. But if you technically see, yes, learner plays a role, learner environment plays a role, even learners' parents and guardians play a major role. But more than anything, when it comes to learning, the most important thing is, I think, the teacher quality, teacher knowledge, and teacher experiences and teachers' characteristics. So I don't have time to cover up everything. So what I'm focusing here is giving you a gist about being an effective teacher and understanding learner needs through art of teaching. So, teacher, being a teacher, my expectation is to allow my students to express their emotions and to become very open and to get engaged in the learning process and finally achieve their goals. So that's going to be my expectation. So I would like to know what's your expectation as well. Like being a teacher, what do you really expect from your students? Any thoughts, any ideas? What's your expectation as a teacher? So I know that a lot of professionals, like when you are a teacher, definitely you have a lot of expectations towards your learner. You expect your learner to achieve the goals, to be open, to be expressive, and to develop good skills and to become a best performer. So these are the common expectations we have. But we always look at from our side. So we talk about empathy, right? So we don't put ourselves in the shoes of learner and try to understand the learner's perspective. But I think it's very important for you to put yourself into the shoes of learner and to see what learner is expecting from us. Because generally teachers we look at from a teacher's perspective, not from the learner's perspective. But we have to swap the roles. We have to get into the learner's shoes and we should try to understand what the learner is expecting from us. Learner also has certain expectations over me, so I need to understand what are learners expectations. That's very important. Now here we're going to talk about learner needs. So in order to understand learner needs, it's very important to understand who are these learners.
Hello, ma'am. Your screen is not. I can see your screen.
You can't see my screen. Okay.
It's the black.
Okay.
Okay,
Is it
ma'am.
okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Right. So we are going to understand about the learner more. And there's another study which talks about learner needs, and it says the effect of teaching on student learning is greater than student ethnicity or family income, school attended by student or class. So again, this also shows that, like, the effect of teaching, and it completely lies on the teacher. So teacher has to take the leading role, and teacher has to take the responsibility of increasing learner performance, because more than the ethnicity, the income, the background, the school of the learner, I think the most important thing is effective teaching. So the teacher quality. So that's what even this says. So 62%, you can increase the performance by 62%. So just imagine if you can develop yourself as a teacher, if you can understand your learners, and if you can do a really good job, it means that you can take your learners up to 62%. Okay, so another study say effective teaching combining with a good school up to 92%. Yes, learner plays a role, but the learner's role is minimal with comparing to effective teaching and effective school. So you need to understand that learner is very important from the perspective of the teacher. So teacher needs to understand the learner. So that is what we are going to do in this lecture. So just sort of giving you a very quick activity if you would like to do. Probably you can do it even later. To getting started as a teacher, like you being a teacher, what do you understand about yourself? Like, what do you really know about yourself? It means, what does it means for you to teach at a particular school, and what are you trying to achieve with your teaching, and what is your aim, what is your goal, and what's your purpose? So that's what we were talking about now. And what experiences, emotions, and reactions do you have in connection to your teaching? So you can just give a thought about this, because I think everything starts with me. Like, if I understand myself, and if I understand who I am, it's easy for me to understand the other person and other person's needs as well. Now, here as a teacher, like you understand that the performance, the learner performance, completely mostly relies on the learner, more than the learner on the teacher. So when learner performance relies on the teacher, so it's very important for the teacher to develop the teacher's self. Yeah. So the development begins with understanding yourself, who you are, what are your capabilities of, what are you good at, how can you make yourself better, and what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what is your thought process, and what are your values, and how do you process. So all this is very important for you to get a very good understanding about yourself. So we are going to see, as a teacher, what is your understanding. And there was a study done in my country, so we were able to find out that that nearly only like 15% of teachers are self-aware, as in they have very 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 minimal awareness about themselves. They don't know like who they are, they don't know what are their capabilities of, they don't know what they are doing, and they don't know even what are their weaknesses. Like they are very blind to their weaknesses. Even when someone try to explain, they are not ready to accept because they are less self-aware. So I think everything starts with you. So first you have to understand yourself, then we'll be trying to understand the learner. This is very important when it comes to understanding learner needs. Okay, so first, as a teacher, you need to understand who are you, what's your identity, what do you have to do as a learner, uh, how you're going to improve your skills and your knowledge in order to help the learner. So the first and foremost step begins with you. When you understand yourself, when you develop your self awareness as a teacher, it means that you are going to climb in the ladder of professionalism. Let's say, for an example, you are deciding to go on a journey. So tomorrow, I'm deciding to go on a journey. Now, let's say I am thinking to go somewhere, but to see, I don't have a destination in my life, and I don't know where I should go, and even I don't know like which path I'm going to take, what is the vehicle I'm going to use. I'm like unaware of everything. So just imagine how you will feel on that journey. You don't have a destination. You don't know where you going, where you're going. You don't know the pathway, and you don't even know how are you going to go. So you'll be clueless, and finally your journey is going to be a complete mess. You won't be able to achieve your target. Okay, so a journey or a destination without a map is just a failure. Likewise, as a teacher, as a professional, it's very important to understand who you are and spot out the destination that where you want to be headed to. Only then you will be able to create your map. So it makes sense, right? If you're going on a journey without even knowing a destination, it can't even be a journey. You're going to waste a lot of things. You're going to waste money, you're going to waste time, you're going to waste everything. Same way, if you're a professional and you don't have any goal or any map about yourself and what you're doing, it's like you're going on a journey without a destination. Okay, so it's very important to understand my map. Where am I going? What is my destination? Where am I heading to? What am I going to do? How am I going to develop myself? What are my skills? What are my negative thoughts? What are my strengths? What are my values? So when I get a complete understanding about myself, it's easy for me to understand the other person. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. So first, as a teacher, you have to identify your identity, your strength, your weaknesses, your skills, your abilities, and all of that in order to reflect that to your learner. Okay, so thank you. So now we'll be moving on to our second segment. That's about understanding our learners. So we're going to talk about now we're going to talk a lot about learners. Okay, so I would like to ask you a question again. So my question to you is, do you think that learners are different from one another? Do you think the learners are different from one another? Or you think that all the learners are same? What's your thought about it? Are learners differ or are they same? Yes or no? Yes, very good. Thank you, Mitch. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Thank you. They're different from each other. Yes, they're different. So you say, yes, they're different. Isaiah. Hi, Isaiah. Yes, they're different. Thank you. Yes, they're different. Yes. So they're different. So you understand well that the learners are different. But generally, we talk about like only like few differences. We think that they have like, we generally think that we have four types of learners. Can someone tell me what are the four types of learners? Probably, if I ask you that question, you would come up with visual learners, auditory learners, kinesthetic learners, and reading and writing. Yeah. So you think that generally those are the differences that we see in learners. They are visual, or either they are auditory, they are reading, they have reading and different reading and writing styles, and they are kinesthetic. So Isaiah says that they are unique. Yes, I absolutely agree that they are unique. But is this the only difference that we see among learners? Is this the only difference that we see among learners? Exactly, they are differentiated, and they have multiple intelligence. Superb. Okay, so generally we talk about only these four types of learners, but today we are going to explore a lot of differences between learners. So that's why I'm here today. So we're going to explore in what are the different types of learners, and what are the differences that they have in depth. Okay, so let me slowly move on to one by one. So I'll be taking you on a journey. Okay, so I believe learning is a journey. Learning is a journey. So it begins when you were born, and it's going to end only when you die. So each and every moment you learn something. So learning is basically acquiring knowledge which shapes your behavior and creates an experience in your life. It's acquiring knowledge, acquiring understanding, which creates a difference in you. It could be in your behavior, it could be in your thought process, or maybe it could be in your actions, which leads to some sort of an experience. This is the definition of learning. I made it very simple for you just to understand what is learning. So, through learning, we are going to acquire skills, we are going to acquire knowledge, we are going to acquire abilities, and it's going to shape me, it's going to create a relatively permanent change. A relatively permanent change, some sort of a change in myself. So if I am learning today about learner needs, today, tomorrow, I am a person with the knowledge about learner needs. So today, probably I have minimal knowledge about learner needs, but tomorrow I have maybe 90% of knowledge about learner needs. So my minimal knowledge today is going to increase tomorrow. So it clearly shows that you have relatively a permanent change. You change when you learn something, when you acquire knowledge, you change. So change is a process, so it keeps happening, it constantly happening, and then it leads to some sort of an experience. So yesterday I learned about something, and today it has become an experience in my life. So yesterday, while I was preparing for the lecture, I was going through something about learning, and today it has become my experience. Yeah, so this is the process of learning. So learning is a process, learning is a journey, it's a never-ending journey. So in this journey, the focal, we have three focal areas. One is the learner, then the learner environment, and learner needs. Okay. Oh, so very sad. So the focal area is not about the teacher. No, it's nothing like that. Teacher plays the leading role. Under teacher, we have three focal areas. That's what I meant. Like teaching is something different, but here, what we are trying to understand is basically teacher takes the lead. Under teacher, what are the focal areas? What are the focal areas of a teacher? So the first focal area is the learner, and then you understand about the learner needs, learner environment, and then finally the learning process. So those are the three focal areas when it comes to learning. Okay, so now we are going to see what are the different theories and how learner needs differ. Okay, you must have come across certain questionnaires and assessments that you can use to identify learner needs. Okay, so out of that we have this WAC, WAC, WAC. VARK, okay, VARK questionnaire to understand how do you learn best by understanding learner needs. So WAC questionnaire helps us to understand the different types of learners. When you take that questionnaire, I can put the link in the chat box. Can I do that? Yeah. So I can put the link on the chat box. So this WAC questionnaire, it helps us to understand what is my prominent learning style. Okay, so prominent learning style is going to be like what is my learner type. So am I a visual learner? Am I an auditory learner? Am I a reading and writing learner, or am I a kinesthetic learner? So this questionnaire helps me to understand my learner type. So this is the only questionnaire we have been coming across, but there are a lot of other questionnaires. You can understand your learning type. You can understand your practice type, and you can understand your skill type, your ability type. There are a lot of questionnaires online where you can give the learner and understand about learner needs. And also you have intelligent questions, you have emotional intelligence questions. So I'm going to talk about all of this, and I'm just going to explain you the differences between all these needs, like what is emotional intelligence, what is intelligence, and all of that. We're going to go one by one. Okay, so you have a lot of questionnaires online. So if you get through those questionnaires, you can use it with your learners to see the differences between them. So probably you can use your questionnaires before you begin a session. Like if it's a physical session, definitely I would have done it with you. So what you can do is you can download these questionnaires. Some of the questionnaires are very reliable, so you have to go through it and see what are the reliable questionnaires. For an example, like WAC is a reliable questionnaire. So what you can do, you can download it, you can get a printout. Before you start a lecture, you can give that questionnaire to the students, to the learners, and see the difference between learner. Now let's say now in this class today, I don't know how many of them are attending, because I can't see, but I can see number of people attending and they're commenting. Thank you so much for all of that. So so in this classroom, we will definitely have a variation in learners. Okay, so I'm going to have visual learners, I'm going to have auditory, and I'm going to have kinesthetics. I'm going to have a different type of learners definitely in this platform as well. So let's imagine when you are delivering something to when you're delivering a lesson in the classroom, and you have a set of learners where there's a variety of learners. Okay, now if you want to grab the attention of all the learners, now let's say there are around 40 students, and if you want to grab the attention of all the 40 students, what can be done? What can be done? How are you going to do it? So we have to cover visual learners, we have to cover auditory learners, we are going to cover reading and writing, and we are going to cover kinesthetic as well. Now, let's say, for an example, I am a visual learner, so I will expect something visual. Right now, there's another person who is an auditory learner, so that person would expect something to hear. And there's another group of learners who are reading and writing, they're focusing on reading and writing. And there's another group where they focus on experiential learning. So you have a group of learners where there's a variety of learners, and they are with different needs. Now, how are you going to cover up all of them when you're taking a class? How can we do that? Any idea? Any thoughts? You can mention in the chat box. Any idea? Any thoughts? How can we do that? Isaiah, Isaiah, you have been replying to all my questions. Would like to ask you, how can we cover up all the learners? So it's a very good question, right? Like, now I know that there's a variety of learners in my classroom, and I want to cover up all of them. So how can I do that? So first thing is, I have to give them a questionnaire, and I have to identify, I have to quantify that the different types of learners and how many are there in each type. So when you give a questionnaire, when you give a questionnaire and when you analyze the questionnaire, you'll be able to quantify the different types of learners. Probably Generally, if you look at the statistics, it says that out of a population, the visual learners are the highest. They are up to like 65% generally. Okay, so they are up to 65%. Then you have auditory learners nearly about 10 to 12%. So that's how it gets divided. Kinesthetic will be very less. Okay, so out of the population, now you can understand that there's a variety of learners. And what do? You try to give them the questionnaires and quantify the different groups. So now you know that there are 50 visual learners allowed. Let's say the population is 50. Out of 50, we know that there are 30 visual learners and maybe 15 auditory learners and 5 reading and writing and 5 kinesthetic. Okay, so now we have got an idea about my learner circle. I've got an idea about my learner group. Now what I can do, based on the quantity, based on the quantity of the types of the learner, now you're going to create your presentation and your performance, calculating the learner types, the different learner types. You're going to include all type of learning strategies to cover up all the learners. So one thing, you have to use a visual because the visual learners are the prominent. Then also you need to use some sort of an auditory performance as well. Now let's say the way you talk, your modulation, how you do the modulation, your vocal, the words, the set of words that you use, right? And how you use the words, the vocabulary. So that's very important, like your actions, your body language, everything is gonna read. So then you have this, the third segment, to cover up readers and writers. You have to give them some sort of an activity to write and read. So then it becomes much more effective. And finally, you get them all maybe in a group activity or maybe in a brainstorm or something like that to create an experience. So you have covered up all the learners. So if you want to be a really an effective teacher, you have to catch up all your learners. Let's say there are 40 students in the group, and even if you miss one person, it's a waste. But when you use this strategy, you will be able to cover up all the 40 students. It means when you are delivering something, make sure that it should include something visual to catch up, and also your vocal, your modulation, the words, your actions and everything. Then you have something to read and write as well, something minimal. Then finally you end up giving them an experiential learning. So see how beautiful teaching is. If you could teach in this way, you're going to be a very effective teacher, and you're going to grab all the attention of the learners. So it's very important to identify the different types of the learners so that you can get their attention completely. So this is one theory about the learner needs, right? One is like understanding the different types. Let's slowly move on to the second one. You must have heard about Maslow, right? So Maslow is a very famous person. So he's the one who found about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So he comes in person-centered theory. So under person-centered theory, we talk about Maslow. The reason why we talk about Maslow, because Maslow is a person who has come up with a theory which is very useful in different contexts. Like it could be Bangladesh, it could be China, it could be Sri Lanka, it could be India, it could be any place in the world. This particular theory is applicable, and it's very effective as well when you try to understand learner needs. Now let's say Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It says that every person has certain needs. Okay, so every person tries to meet with certain needs. So when you try to meet with certain needs, that's where you give your focus. So if the needs are met, it means that you're going to climb on the ladder. So according to him, there's a ladder, and ladder has certain steps. So people go one by one step. By fulfilling their needs, they go up and up, they climb up on the ladder. So according to him, he believes when you have a substantial need and when your needs are met you think of going to the second step of the ladder. So generally, you are in the down, the below of the ladder, and when your needs are met, you try to go up, 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 because you want to climb and see how the next step feels, because you have certain needs. So according to him, that he says that we have this, five different types of needs. So let's go one by one. So he says that we all have physiological needs. So you must be knowing what are physiological needs. Physiological needs are food, water, you know, food, water, and then we all need money, of course. Yeah, money is also a physiological need. And then breathing, you need air to breathe. And those are physiological needs. Like it's a must for you to have. You can't survive without food. You can't survive without air. You can't survive without, money, obviously. So those are like the physiological major needs. So he says when your physiological needs are met, then you think about safety needs, right? Then you think about safety needs, having a shelter, having a safe place, having a guard to look after you, and to be protective, be secured. So you think about your safety needs. So when your safety needs are met, then you go to your belonging needs. Belonging needs is basically to be belonging to someone, be loved by someone. So we all want to be loved by someone. So obviously we have this belonging needs where we try to get married, or maybe we try to have relationships and create bondings and all of that, because we need to feel that love and that companionship. Yeah, so that's love and belonging needs. And then that's a third step. Then he says, after that begins the most beautiful step, and I just love it because it's self-esteem need. So self-esteem need is basically you feel contented in your life, and you feel like you need to achieve something. You need to achieve something to prove yourself and prove the world that who you are. So self-esteem needs are very beautiful, because not everybody focus on self-esteem needs. So the self-esteem needs are the fourth type of need. And then finally we have self-actualization needs. That's the top in the ladder. So self-actualization needs is basically achieving your fullest potential. So you achieve your fullest potential, yeah, yes, Isaiah, that's correct. So we have this self-actualization needs. That's basically attaining your fullest potential. Now, let's say, for an example, the U.S. president. So, if you ask U.S. president whether he has achieved his fullest, probably he would say yes, because that's the maximum he could achieve, right? So that's the maximum he could achieve. So he has achieved his fullest potential. So fullest potential is basically achieving your maximum. We all have that maximum in us, our fullest potential, bringing the best and best and best version of ourselves. So that's basically self-actualization. So we all have this, step by step process in our life. So according to Maslow also says that learner also has this needs. Okay, so this is the most important thing you need to understand. So Master says that learner also has this needs. Learner also try to climb up in the ladder in order to achieve self-actualization. So we all are driven by certain factors, and we are trying to achieve self-actualization because that's the highest. So first, just I'll give you an example. Okay, now let's see, I'm in hunger. I don't have food. I don't have food to eat, and I don't have a shelter. So when I don't have food to eat, and when I don't have a shelter, do you think that I will consider getting married? What do you think? I don't have food, I don't have shelter, but do you think that will I consider getting married? Will I try to find a partner? What do you think? Yes or no? What's your thought about it? Yes or no? I'm waiting for your answers. You don't have food, you don't have shelter, then will you ever consider getting married? Or being in a relationship? Not really, right? Not really, because my most important need would be to fulfill my hunger. So I need food to fulfill my hunger. That would be my priority. Then I would look for a shelter because I need a place I need a safe place to live. If not, I will get wet in the rain, and I have to face through a lot of hardships, and I have to go through the hot sun and all of that. So initially, I will actually look forward to get my physiological and safety needs met. So once it's met, I will try to climb up in the ladder, and I will try to get married and have relationships so that my belonging needs are met. So once it's done, I'll be going one step ahead and I'll consider of achieving something. Okay, so that's how generally people process. So once you're once you fulfill your physiological needs, you'll think of safety needs, and then you'll go for love and belonging needs, and then you will go for self-esteem needs, and then finally you'll go for achievement, self-actualizations. Okay, so basically your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Okay, so if you feel content about yourself, if you feel good about yourself, if you feel that I am potential, you'll try to achieve something in your life because you think that you are the best and you want to prove that to others. Okay, then once you start proving, you'll understand, oh my god, I have some level of achievement in my life and I want to go to the highest level of achievement. That's when you think about self actualization. So it's a continuous process. Now, let's apply this with learners. When the learner comes to you, the learner also comes with these needs. So, first, the learner should try to focus on their physiological and safety and belonging needs. Let's apply this to a child and see how it goes. Okay, let's see a child who's coming from a low socioeconomical state, a child who's attending school from a very low socio-economical state or very socio-economical background. Okay, so then what happens? The child's physiological needs are not met. Maybe the child is not in full stomach. The child feels hungry. So when the child is not met a physiological need, definitely the child maybe don't have safety needs as well. Yeah, because they don't even have food to eat. So probably they have a shelter, but that's not the perfect shelter that they wanted. So just imagine now they have a really big problem because starting from uh, yeah, you want me to enlarge my screen. I tried my best to do that, but I couldn't do, I don't know, for some reason. um, yeah, shall I make it like this? Just see whether you can see it now. Okay, so then what happens when the child doesn't have food to eat? Yeah, so you can imagine that the child's physiological needs are not met. Then obviously the child's safety needs also may not be met. Then think about the love and belongings. Probably the parents are highly stressed with the financial crisis that they are undergoing, the poverty eradication. So poverty is hitting them so badly. Maybe the parents are also highly stressed about it and they don't have time to give attention or love to the child. Okay, I'm talking about a general situation. Then imagine the impression the child would be having about themselves going to be like very low. Then the esteem needs also will not be met. Then climbing up in the ladder is going to be very, very difficult for the child because the child's physiological and safety needs are not met. So when you are delivering when you are delivering a presentation or a lesson or a lecture or whatever, just try to understand whether whether the students, whether the learners' physiological and safety needs are being met. If not, definitely they will be having a problem in climbing up the ladder. Because just imagine that you're hungry. If when you're hungry, will you be able to focus? You have not eaten your breakfast or whether you have not eaten your lunch, I don't know the time differences among the other countries. So when you're not full and when you're hungry or maybe when you're half stomach, just imagine that whether you will be able to focus. No, it's going to be very difficult for you to focus because you're hungry. In the same way, when you don't have certain things in your life, especially your physiological needs and safety needs, when it's not met, definitely you can't go up to the level of esteem. So when a person has that extremely driven internal motivation to achieve something, then the person will definitely achieve it. If not, every single learner is going to focus on the physiological safety and belonging needs first before they focus on esteem needs. That is why we have few successes in our world. Like everybody is not successful. Yeah, everyone that we see among the population is not successful. Like very few have attained success. The reason why they have attained success because they have got intrinsic motivation. They have got intrinsic internal motivation which drives them to attain success. But other than that, why most of them fail, why most of them don't achieve success, it's because their physiological safety belonging needs not met. So this we can apply with our students as well, because when the students are not getting that proper love, proper affection, the safety, physiological needs, obviously they're not going to focus on learning. So if as a teacher, if you could do something to provide some sort of a safety, some sort of that love and affection to the child, definitely the child is going to get attracted. So me being a counselor, I get a lot of kids, kids. I get a lot of kids for counseling. So then the parents come and tell me they love to come to you. They're like so fascinated about you, and they really love to come. And then even they have asked, like, are you doing any magic to my child? Like, why are they really loving? I mean, why they really love you? Like, probably they have seen you for 1 or 2 times, but they love to come. The reason why they love to come because I get them through their love and belonging needs. Most of them who come to me for counseling, they they have their physiological and safety needs, but their love and belonging needs are not met. Even in the schools, we see the same thing. Like if they're attending school, so it most of them, I'm talking about the average. They're attending school, it means that averagely their physiological and safety needs are met. But we see that with a lot of children, the love and belonging needs are not met. When we give their love and belonging needs, definitely they're going to get so attracted to us. That's what we do in counseling. We be so loving, accepting, giving unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, so that they get attracted to us. So you, as a teacher, it's very important to fulfill their needs. And we see most of the time, I remember there was a child who came to me. The child told me that I'm undergoing depression because of my teacher. Then when I asked the child why, what was the reason, the child said, my teacher used to always put me down. The teacher used to tell me like I'm not good enough, I can't do maths, I can't do anything. Yeah, you're not a good student because you don't get good marks. So the teacher used to put the child always down, and that has affected the child's self-esteem so badly. Then the child has got into depression. Okay, so when this child came to me for counseling, I was able to identify the reason why the child has got so badly affected by depression, because the child has developed low self-esteem, inferiority complex. So when I asked the mother to address the child, the mother has gone and addressed the child's teacher. The teacher has told, no, I'm telling her to improve herself, motivate herself. I don't understand what kind of a motivation is that. I don't understand what kind of teaching is that. Because if you want to motivate someone, you need to address their self-esteem need and give them self-esteem, not break their self-esteem. We have this habit of comparing. We have this habit of putting people down and say, like, if you do like this, if you don't acquire good marks, you can't achieve success in your life. If you don't become the best, it means that you can't create the best version of you. So only if you study hard you can become successful. So you're not studying hard, you can't become successful. So this is a very negative way of assessing a child, and negative way of putting a child through a trauma, because it makes the child feel so low about themselves. Like, let's say if I'm comparing myself with Isaiah and saying that, Isaiah, you're not good, you're not better than me, I'm better than you. You're just, one step down. I don't like you because you're not acquiring marks. Will that motivate you or will that put you down? Tell me. Will that motivate you or will that put you down? What do you think? Do you think that it will motivate you? Never. It will never ever motivate you. It will put you more down and it will make you feel so low. So these are the common mistakes teachers do because they don't understand the learner need. Learner has the need of getting that self-esteem boosted. They want someone to boost their self-esteem. So when you encourage someone, when you pat them and say, like, you're doing a great job, even if they're not, it's going to boost their self-esteem. But most of the time we see that in the platform of teaching, teachers try to demotivate the child by breaking their self-esteem, and it's very bad. So according to Maslow says, like, if you want to catch a learner, definitely you need to provide something which fulfills their needs. So that is why we apply this Maslow's hierarchy in understanding learning needs. A learner definitely needs physiological needs to be met and the safety needs to be met, and love and care, that belonging and that connection. And then the self-esteem needs to be the self-esteem needs also to be boosted. Because when you boost self-esteem needs of the learner, it's going to help the learner to come up, to become successful, because they're gaining more confidence. Then once they gain that self-esteem, they're going to climb up on the ladder. Like, nobody told me to develop myself, nobody told me to achieve my fullest potential. Maybe the reason why I'm doing this lecture, because I want to achieve something through it, right? I want to achieve something through it, but nobody told me to do that. Nobody told me to do that. It's my own desire is making me to do it. Like, maybe until my O levels, A levels, that's the the exam setting that we have in Sri Lanka. So when you pass O level, A level, then you go to campus, then you go to college, right? So until O level, A levels, your parents push you. Your parents tell you, yes, you have to study, you have to study. Only if you pass through these exams, you'll get into campus. But after attending campus, it's my decision to decide whether I'm going to go for further studies or I'm going to start with campus. So from then I have gained the esteem, and now I'm driven towards my self-esteem. So I came up to this level. It's because I had my self-driven desire to achieve my self-actualization. So once you allow a person to completely have their self-esteem, a full self-esteem, definitely the next step that they'll be motivated towards is their self-actualization. So you don't even have to tell that person. You don't even have to guide that person. He will be internally driven. Yeah. So that is attaining self-actualization. So I hope you can understand. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the chat box. If you have any questions, you can ask me. So these are the steps that a learner go through according to Maslow's hierarchy. So let's look at a little bit about this. I gave you a word. I told you something in between about motivation. So let's look at what is motivation. So motivation, we have two types of motivation. So this is also another need of a learner, right? Because when I teach, like, mostly I teach with adults, and I have been teaching with kids as well. So when I teach with adults, I see that there are two categories of learners. One is people who are intrinsically motivated, and there are people who are extrinsically motivation. Okay, so motivation is an internal state where you have a drive towards achievement, right? So internal motivation and intrinsic motivation, and then you have extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivated people, people who are intrinsically motivated, they have their own desire, and they have their own checklist to tick up in order to achieve success. Right now, let's say, for an example, if you take me, I would say that I'm an internally driven person. I have intrinsic motivation. I'm not into external motivation. I'm into intrinsic motivation. How I say that I have intrinsic motivation, because I always think that I want to achieve my best. I want to become the best in my profession. Yeah, and I want to prove myself and others who I am, and I want to be the toppest in everything. So this is my internal drive. I have a drive for a status. I have a drive for achievement. I think that I should become the best in everything. So it's my internal self motivation, which helps me to keep updating myself and grow up in the ladder. But some people, they don't have internal motivation. They are motivated by an external factor most of the time. Can someone tell me what is the external factor that motivates us so much? What motivates us so much externally? It's very easy. Like, you can just understand it. Any idea? So I'll give you another clue. We need something to live, and it's very essential, and you can't live with it. It's everything. What is that? Any idea? I'm waiting for your answers, guys. I know you are there. I know you're listening to me. Nasir, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You're not
Ma'am,
audible.
your
Yeah,
presentation is complete.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. It has been very informative. It's time for our quiz session. Uh, After completed our quiz session, we come back again in our question answer session. Okay, ma'am?
Sorry, I didn't get you. I couldn't hear you, dear.
Uh, it's time for our quiz session. After completed quiz
Quiz
session,
session. Right. Great, great, great.
uh,
Okay. Super.
after completed quiz session, we come back again in our question answer session. You have to wait for some minutes. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, how many minutes?
10 minutes, I think.
Right.
Okay. Dear participant, it's time for our quiz session. To join this session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP2. And the code is IGP2. After short video, we will start our quiz session. So please everyone join in our quiz session as soon possible. Dear participant, if you want to join our quiz session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. And the code is IGP. We will pick your name from Slido, so join with your full name, which will directly print on certificates. And top 10 will be awarded with quiz comprehension certificates. Dear participant, we have already 22 people in our quiz session. We encourage everyone to in our quiz session. To join this session, you have to go directly www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. And the code is IGP. We have Queenie Rose, then we have Aaron Gad, we have Jannatul Firdos, then we have Pokmar, then we have Joel, then we have Aveline, then we have Eliasa, then we have Jordan, we have Mohammad Nasiruddin, we have Leah Fakunulad, we have Michelle Tarashina, and we have Flora Manti, then we have Ife Suaso, we have Evelyn. Dear Persever, we are waiting for your joining. So please everyone join in our quiz session. To join this session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. And the code is IGP. And top fish 10 will be awarded with quiz compensation certificates. Already 26 people joined in our quiz session. We are waiting for your joining, so please everyone join in our quiz session early. To join this session, you have to go www.slido.com. Then you have to enter the code, and the code is IGP. And the code is IGP. After 2 minutes later, we start our quiz session. And don't forget to mention your friends to join our quiz session. And don't forget to mention your friends to join our quiz session. Dear participant, now let's start our quiz session. Our first question is, what is the art and science of teaching children? Is it pedagogy? And second option, andragogy. What is the and science of teaching children? Option 1, pedagogy. Second option, andragogy. We have only 4 seconds. Now we see our correct answer, and the correct answer is option 1, and 93% people are right. In our dashboard, the first one is Jannatul Firdaus, then we have Pinky, then we have Jordan, then in fourth position we have Mary, in fifth position we have Jabba. Now we go for our second question, and the question is, select board goal formulation, identify specific objectives, select teaching methods. Option 1, planning. Second option, implementation. We have only 5 seconds. Um, now is your correct answer. And the correct answer is option 1, planning, and 89% people are right. Still our top one is Jannatul Firdaus. Then we have Pinky. Then we have Mary. Then we have Via Fakunula. Then we have Maria Beneranda. Now we go for our third term question, and the question is, reverse learners need more than sectional section, no, Analytic teaching, thus the master educator win. Option 1, very teaching strategies. Second option, show more videos. And the correct answer is option 1, very teaching strategies, and 97% people are right. Now we see our dashboard. Now our top one is Pinky, then we have Mari, then we have Leah, then we have Ricky, then we have Jannatul Firdaus. Now I go for a fourth now question, and the question is select the teaching modality that helps the trainer to address the needs of large group of trainees. Option 1, case study. Second option, lecture method. Select the teaching modality that help to address the need of large group of trainees. Option 1, case study. Second option, lecture method. What is the correct answer? And the correct answer is option 1, lecture method, and 83% people are right. Now see our dashboard. And in our dashboard, still top one is Pinky, then we have Mary, then we have Ricky, then we have Leah, then we have Jannatul Firdaus. Now we go for our fifth now question. And the question is what is the teaching method that includes face to face learning designed to meet specific needs of an individual learner? Option 1, seminar learning. Second option, one to one instruction. What is the teaching method that includes face to face learning designed to meet specific needs of an individual learner? Option 1, similar learning. Second option, one to one instruction. And now see our correct answer. And the correct answer is one to one instruction, and 84% people are right. In our top one dashboard, top one is still Pinky. Then we have Jannatul Firdaus. Then we have Joel Apriko Barnasar. Then we have Hawkumar. Then we have Evelyn P. Waperi. Then we go for our sixth now question. And the question is CHNA stands for Community Health Needs Assessment. Is it true or false? CHNA stands for Community Health Needs Assessment. Is it true or false? We have only 8 seconds. Uh, and the correct answer is true, and 73% people are right. Uh, Still, our top one is Pinky. Then we have Jannatul Firdaus. Then we have Jewel. Then we have Ricky. Then we have Leah. Now we go for our seventh question, and the question is: Kinesthetic learners learn best by moving and doing. Is it true or false? And the correct answer is true, and 96% people are right. Still, our top one is Pinky. Then we have Jannatul Firdaus. Then we have Ricky. Then we have Jewel. Then we have Leah. Now we go for our eighth now question, and the question is teaching others faculties 19% 90% retention. Is it true or false? Teaching other faculties 90% retention. Is it true or false? We have only 6 seconds, and now we see our correct answer. And the correct answer is true, and 70% people are right. Now see our dashboard. Our top one is Jannatul Firdaus. Then we have Ricky R. Kolima. Then we have Leah Fakunullah. Then we have Joel. Then we have Flami Ragwal Selbiojo. Then we go for our ninth now question. And the question is author authorization level teaching is dash. Option 1, hat center. Second option, teacher center. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is teacher center, and 76% people are right. In our dashboard, still our top one is Jannatul Firdaus. Then we have Ricky. Then we have Leah. Then we have Jewel. Then we have Barnasar. Now we go for our last and final question. Learners who would rather be left to their own resource, who think better on their own process. Option 1, interpersonal intelligence. Second option, environmental intelligence. And the correct answer is interpersonal intelligence, and 100% people are right. Congratulations, Jannatul Firdaus. She is our top one, and he is our top ranker. Then in second position we have Ricky R. Kolima. Then in third position we have Leah Faconola. In fourth position we have Joel Aprico Barnasser. Then in fifth position we have Barnasser. Sixth position we have Mari Jen. Then we have seventh position Kidiwana Jonari Sindhi. Then eighth position we have Pinky. Then we have Flomi Ragol Salbiojo. In 10th position we have Java Lehelonolo William. Congratulations, our top 10 quiz competition winner. We have all of your name which you entered during joining. We'll pick your name and prepare certificate and we'll post them on our Facebook official page. Our Facebook official page is Institution of Global Professional. Participate are request to dear participate. After short video, we'll start our question answer session and participator request to ask their question in our comment box. Please address speaker name and then ask your question. আম্মু ডাকতেছে যে আম্মু আম্মু Dear participant, if you have any question, you can ask in our comment box. We are waiting for your question. Hello, ma'am. Welcome back in our question answer session.
Hi.
Hi. Uh, Dear participant, we are waiting for your questions. So please, everyone, ask your question. Our first question from Flomi R. Saviojo. Good afternoon to our resource speaker. How can teachers be effective and efficient in their teaching?
Hi, Flomi. Okay. So, how can teachers be effective and efficient in their teaching? So, I think it's a really good question. So, Flavi, I would like to answer this question in two segments. First thing, how can a teacher be effective? As I said, now we all know that teacher role and teacher characteristics, teacher quality plays a major role. Along with that, I think having a really good self awareness and self understanding about what you are doing and how you are performing would help the teacher to improve themselves. Now we can see nowadays everything has become technological. Yeah, the technology is so advanced, so we use technology to teach. So when we are using technology to teach, we need to definitely, as a teacher, we need to use a lot of skills, the lot of different teaching methods and strategies in order to be effective. As I said during my lecture, it's very important to use different techniques in order to address your learner needs. Learners are different, learners are vary, learner has different needs, and learner types are different. So when you address the learner needs and when you try to use technique and teaching strategies to grasp their attention, I think you can do a really good job. Now, me being a lecturer for really about 10 years, I know how I catch my students. My students always say my teaching is so effective. The reason why it has become effective, because I try to grasp the attention of the learner through my skills. So I use a lot of skills, strategies, and techniques to address their needs and to address the difference between the learners. So I know how to catch up all the learners through the teaching techniques that I use. So one thing is your quality, is the way you teach, the effectiveness. As I said, using visuals, using auditory, and using kinesthetic learning, using reading and writing, and all of that together will make your teaching effective. Secondly, you need to use a lot of effective teaching techniques like using brainstorming sessions, role plays, group activities, and also you can use a lot of self-centered teaching, because if you look at Asian context, the second answer for the second question, if you look at Asian context, we focus on teaching, not on the learning process. So we have to be learner centered, we have to focus on the learner, and not we shouldn't try to just pour to the learner. We just try to help the learner to develop their skills by internal learning. So we have to be learner centered, learner focused, so that we allow the learner to come up with their knowledge first, and we try to build up and we'll try to build up on their learning what they have. So these are some of the emerging trends, and also if you can address their emotional intelligence, yeah, multiple intelligence, use effective teaching method to they address their different types, the different personalities and different values and beliefs they have, I think you can do a really good job by grasping their attention. I
Uh,
can't hear you.
is preparing in an IEP in class better than taking a child to a special school?
Isaiah, like, are you talking about a special child, or are you talking about in general? Isaiah, I just want to know. You're talking about special children, right?
Special child. Uh,
Individualized education programs. You're talking about
special
special
child.
children. Yeah, you're talking
Ma'am,
about special children. Yeah, with regard to special children, I think it's very important to give them that understanding of the subject according to their level. Like, let's say, like, if you take special children, they have special needs, right? So their needs are not like the other learners' needs, the general learners' needs. They have special needs. So when they have special needs, definitely you have to focus on the special needs rather than focusing on the general needs. So when you're preparing for individualized educational programs, the most important thing you have to focus on is you have to measure the level of their performance by using certain measures, right? You have certain measures where you can actually measure their performance. Then also you can try to quantify and see what are their goals based on the measurements you have taken, based on the measures that you have taken on the performance. You have to make some goals, you have to set some goals, and you have to deliver it. Okay, so taking a child to a special school. So I think, like, special school helps in a way, because special school sometimes it put down the children as well, because certain children, or let's say for an example, if a child has like mild mental retardation or something like that, then when you put them into a group where there's like extremely profound category, probably that could make the child feel very low, and probably the child will develop low self-esteem. But with regard to certain atmospheres and environment, I think it's better to take them an appropriate environment. If you feel like somebody has mild mental retardation, taking them into a profound situation is not going to help them at all. But if you take them into such an environment, that's going to help them. But rather than doing that, I would say like individualized educational programs helps the child to decide their level and the need that they have based on certain quantified measures, and you develop your goals according to that and deliver it individually, because they need individual attention.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, then our next question from Arun. Good afternoon. What are they? What are the things every learner needs to learn effectively?
Okay, there are a lot of things the learner needs to learn effectively. Out of all of that, I think the learner needs to meet with their learning needs. That's the most important thing that they need first. And secondly, learner needs certain qualities. Okay, certain level of awareness about themselves. So that's what I said. Like, you better use certain questionnaires with the learner. When you use questionnaires to identify their personality type, their reflecting type, their action types, their learning styles, and their thought processes, it helps the learner to get a better understanding about the learner. So learner knows who they are, what they want, where they're heading to, what are their goals, what are their plans. So when the learner gets a very good understanding about the learner needs, the learner itself, I think it gives them a really good pathway to carry themselves forward. Because as I said, I gave you a nice example, I think, right? So like if there's a destination without a map, if you're trying to go to a destination without a map, it's not going to help you at all. So everywhere you need a map. So same way, the learner needs a map. The learner needs to understand about the learner differences and who they are in order to get the best out of the learning. So I think that makes the learn effective. And secondly, the environment. Environment plays a huge role. When you are in an environment where it's very distractive and when you can't focus, because I have seen even in Sri Lanka, when you go to certain schools, like, oh my God, you feel like it's a horror house. Yeah. So you don't feel like studying at all. So I think the learning environment also plays a major role. Secondly, so first is knowing about the learner, second is the learning environment, and third is the learning process. In the learning process, to make learning effective, to learn effectively, I think you need to use a variety of strategies. Not a variety of strategies. You have a lot of strategies, like, you have a lot of technological strategies and non technological strategies. So you can include those strategies. So these are the three things I think you need to make learning effective.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Then our next question from Rosalinda. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. What is the
Hi,
meaning of
Rosalinda.
quotation? The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery.
Okay, so that's what. Now, see how I'm connecting both. Let's begin with art of teaching. Okay, so art of teaching is basically hello. Sorry, I had a connection drop. Is it fine now? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. So, our art of teaching is basically like when you be a teacher who can improve your students' performance, definitely you need to follow this art of teaching. So, art of teaching is not this general method of typical way of teaching. So, it's a very unique way of teaching where you include certain modern techniques. So in that, you help the learner to discover about themselves, and also you as a professional, you need to discover yourself in order to develop and update yourself for sure. Now, if you take this case, say knowledge, attitude, and skills, we generally say that teaching focuses on knowledge, attitude, and skills. But in most of the schools, we know that teaching doesn't focuses on knowledge, attitude, and skills. It just focuses on knowledge only. So here what I'm trying to highlight is, you being a teacher, it's very important to focus on all these three aspects: knowledge, attitude, and skills. So if you want to understand where the learner attitude lies, where the learner skills lies, definitely you need to discover it. You can't do it alone, so you need to discover it. You have to discover it through learner understanding. So you discover their needs based on their learning needs with regard to their attitude and skills as well, because only giving the knowledge is not going to help the child anyways, because knowledge is just to write in the exam papers. But when you develop their skills, when you develop their attitude, that's what they want, because they want the learning to create a change in themselves. So when you help the learner to discover themselves, and when you also discover yourself, it is a process of change happening together. So only when you understand, there's a research which says 80% of awareness leads to transformation. So when you become aware of who you are, definitely you're going to transform yourself. So in order to teach effectively, definitely you need discovery. Discovery leads to transformation. Only through transformation a person could acquire all these key factors: knowledge, attitude, and skills. Thank you, Rosalind. I think it's a good question as well.
Uh, Thank you so much, ma'am. I think we covered all of our question. Uh, oh, on behalf of IGB, our profound thanks for taking the time from your busy schedule to present the slides. I know that everyone sitting there was fascinated by your presentation. Those slides give us a great idea about identifying learners' needs with art of teaching. I'm sure that no other person can do it like you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your precious time. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so ma'am.
It would be great if they can put their comments on the chat box so that I know. And I have a lot more to talk about. Probably in future we can talk a lot about it. So, and thank you so much for the opportunity as well. And it was a great pleasure to meet you all from various countries, different countries, to know about all of you. So you gave me a really good collaboration, and a very cooperative audience as well. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot for the opportunity. So please put your comments in the chat box so that I know, what you have gained out of this. So thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Dear participant, it's dear participant. Today, we can't. Some of our technical problem. We can't share our today's webinar code. We will provide the code in a short time. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your active participation. I hope everyone can learn from our webinar and everyone enjoy our webinar. Uh, See you in your next session. Till that, stay happy and blessed. Thank you so much, everyone.